Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Average Uninformed. With Avengers Endgame closing in, we are going to take a trip down memory lane. First on our list is the movie that started it all. So without further ado, enjoy.
Are we recording now?
Yeah, we are. I figured I just let it run.
You always do.
Yeah.
I can always count on you to let it run.
Josh, what kind of fruit is this?
Avocado.
You sure?
Yeah?
Because when I was at the checkout today, the girl was scanning the items in. She got to this, and the guy behind me tapped me on the shoulder. Sir, your kiwi is moldy. You should put that back and get a new one. I don't buy kiwis.
Yeah, he should know that.
Yeah. Didn't buy a kiwi this time. Haven't bought a kiwi in a long time. I was like, I didn't buy a kiwi, did I? So he was like, the kiwi she just scanned in, it's moldy. And she pulls it out. She didn't say anything. She just looked at me, looked at him, pulled the avocado out. And I was like, that kiwi? He's like, yep. There's a moldy part on the back there. And I said, that's an avocado. He's like, oh, but it's moldy. And I was like, that's just the gray on it. Like sometimes it has that from dirt and dust being transported. He's like, oh, but you don't want a moldy kiwi though. Like that's not a fun thing to eat. I was like, oh, okay, you called it a kiwi again. And I looked at what he was buying, and it's just a 12-pack. I was like, oh, I see. You're probably
Enjoy
drunk,
your
right?
juice, sir.
Anyways, do you want to start the podcast?
Yeah. How you doing, Victor?
Good. I'm just sitting here chilling with my oversized
Friend? Oh.
kiwi.
Yeah, that's not a kiwi, Victor. That's an avocado. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, right.
Also, it looks a little moldy.
Yeah.
Are you going to eat that? You probably shouldn't eat that. You should probably
Right
put it
tonight.
back. Is it too late to take your kiwi back?
You know, I don't think anyone's going to argue it. I just brought this in.
Do you want to start with some regular old news, and then we'll get to some of the trailers that dropped this week a little bit later.
Hit me.
All right. Do you have any regular news? No, I'm sorry. Ghostbusters 3 is apparently happening. Are you a fan of Ghostbusters, Victor?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just checking.
Nah, I'm not really.
Not really.
I've only seen them in, like the one time you showed me.
Yeah. I like Ghostbusters. I like the first one a lot. But apparently there's a third one coming.
Of course. Why wouldn't there be?
But it's
Wait,
like,
didn't they already make a third?
yes, but it wasn't like connected to it. You're talking about the all female one that came out a few years ago with Melissa
right.
McCarthy and
Yes.
Kristen Wiig.
Did you watch that?
I did watch it very much later after. What's that?
Was it good? For the first two?
It really depends on what kind of humor you like. I think they missed the point of what made the first Ghostbusters good, which was that it was like a sci-fi movie that had some funny lines in it, whereas they were like, it's a comedy with some sci-fi elements.
Oh, okay. So
And
it's
then
comedy first.
So yeah, so they did a lot of, and they did like that improvisational humor, which I don't really like, because a lot of times it's just people just keep talking and talking. And it's just like, oh, it's funny what we're talking about, but we'll just keep talking and we'll just keep talking. And it's like, you know, I'm sure the person who wrote the script had a funny joke here that was like had setup and punchline instead of you just babbling and saying funny words. Like they were really pushing like, this is a funny movie, guys. And like funny stuff happens. And also there's ghosts in it.
I see. So the Ghostbusters aspect of it takes a back seat.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I didn't really love it. And I don't really like that style of humor. Like there are certain movies that work really well with it, but then there's others that just don't.
Okay.
Yeah. And I suppose it's also like the director and editor who's like, you can film it like that all you want, but you need someone who is good at telling jokes and stuff in the editing bay to be like, no, we need to cut it off there. It's funnier if nobody says anything during this part or,
Yeah.
you know, or whatever. Anyway, going back to it, actually, I've been sitting on this news pretty much since the start of the podcast. Every week I have like,
So is it news anymore or is it old?
yeah, it's old.
I'll be here all night.
No, it is new in the sense that like I have written down there was a rumor that Ghostbusters 3 was coming out. Mm-hmm. And then like it's been confirmed this week that it is coming out. But I've been sitting on it for a while, and every time, because it was like Dan Aykroyd who said it, it was just like, yeah, I'm sure it's coming, Dan Aykroyd. So now it is happening. They even had a little teaser video for it where they showed the famous Ecto-1, their car, and they said it's coming out in 2020.
Oh,
yeah.
I guess that makes sense if it hasn't announced it. Yeah, at least a year.
But so you don't really care about the franchise?
No,
too
like
much.
I'm pretty neutral on Ghostbusters. Like if you toss it in front of me and said like, hey, do you want to watch this? I wouldn't be opposed to watching it. Like I'll sit down, I'll watch it, I'll enjoy it. But if you gave me that option with alongside like a bunch of other movies, I'd probably pick something that I haven't seen before.
Okay. Yeah. I gotcha. There's rumor that some of the original cast will come back, which probably just means Dan Aykroyd. I doubt they'll get Bill Murray to come back. I'd be very surprised if they get him.
He doesn't look too good anymore. Like he looks like he's aged.
Well, he's like
poorly.
76 or something like that.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, that makes sense. Fine.
Yeah.
I take that back.
Yeah.
I thought he was younger.
No. That's the other thing too. It's like, as much as I want to see more Ghostbusters, it's kind of like that nail in the coffin has been struck, which is kind of morbid considering the reason why is because Harold Ramis has passed away. Like that was the kind of final nail where I was like, okay, I don't really need to see it. Anyway, so Ghostbusters 3 is coming out. Do you want some like kind of heartfelt, like feel good news?
Sure.
Yeah. So there was a 96-year-old World War II veteran named Dwayne Sherman. His daughter, his wife has passed away, and a lot of his friends have passed away at this point. And so for his 96th birthday, she asked the internet to if they could do something for his birthday. And so he got sent 50,000 birthday cards from all over the world. This is from like elementary school students, prisoner inmates, the Secretary of the Navy.
That's a wide range there.
Yeah.
Just the first two.
Secretary of the Navy sent him one. The Pittsburgh Steelers sent him some. But the thing that kind of made it a little weird for me, he's legally blind. I'm not making fun of him that he's blind. I just kind of find it funny that like this great moment of charity, like this he can't experience it at all. I mean, it's also kind of sucks for the daughter because now she has to read him 50,000 birthday cards.
Yeah, I bet she regrets that.
But I mean, that's still nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. We don't usually talk about celebrity gossip, but I found this kind of funny. Chris Pratt is marrying Catherine Schwarzenegger, as in Arnold Schwarzenegger's oldest daughter. I just find it hilarious that Chris Pratt will be the son-in-law to Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's kind of out of like left field for me. I didn't like. It was kind of sad to hear that him and Anna
Faris
broke up. Like I don't care for celebrity news, but it's like I don't know. I remember seeing those two paired up, and I was like, oh, that's a fun couple.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like there's some celebrity couples where you're just kind of like, oh, I was kind of invested. Like they were really together for a long time. It's too bad. Like Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner, I was like all for them for a long time, and then Ben Affleck, he became Batman and ruined his life. That's what happened. But yeah.
See, people are always saying like, oh, boo on Daredevil. But it's Batman that ruins your life.
It's simple. We divorce the Batman. I got one for you. Have you heard about the Bird Box Challenge?
I've heard about something about a kid driving blind and then hit a car almost immediately.
What is wrong with you? Like I'm not saying to the 17-year-old from Utah. Seriously, like, oh, that would be a good idea. I'll just put this blindfold over my eyes because I'm a pretty good driver. I've been driving for 6 months.
And what did you think would happen?
Like, come on.
This isn't Karate Kid.
You know how many times I've like looked down at like the stereo for half a second and looked up and suddenly the guy in front of you is stopped and you have to slam on the brakes?
That's exactly what happened to this guy.
Yeah.
and the car was parked. Did you see the picture of the car that you hit?
No, I
He
didn't.
like destroyed it from the side.
Oh my gosh. Okay, if you're listening and you are like, oh, the Bird Box challenge is cool, don't do it. Why would you do it?
Or
I don't. Okay, you say your or, and then I have a question for you.
Or we let this happen and just let natural selection take its
Like
course.
the Darwin effect? Like
Yes.
So here's my question for you, Victor. The Bird Box challenge, what is the goal of it?
To do the task that is given to you blindfolded successfully.
Who gives you the task?
And the internet. Or
The
your
internet does?
dumbass self. I don't know.
It's dumb. There's too many stupid people. I mean, the Tide Pod thing didn't kill off enough
Yeah, I was
people.
saying like to be, I know. I was gonna say like you remember last year? I think
Oh
about
my
this
gosh.
time we had the Tide Pods.
This is ridiculous. Like, I can't believe. And then people are like, why is there a disclaimer on this thing? Like, why does it say caution, hot coffee? It's because people are stupid and they have to put a disclaimer on it.
Yeah. Also, people were like kind of using that like there was no warning on it, so they were kind of using the illegal aspect
Yeah.
of it so that you can just
Just
sue
sue
them
them.
because of that.
You didn't tell me the coffee was hot and I burned myself.
I still agree with the whole idea of just like removing as many warnings as possible. Just seeing what happens.
Yeah.
Just let the body count go up.
Let the bodies hit the floor.
Well, like, all right.
Bodies hit the floor.
That's a perfect example. Like, if you have an ant colony, you have to install some sort of natural population control, whether it be like a pool of water or a larger predator.
Okay.
And as humans, I think we need that.
We need predators. Not
Or
just
just-
a predator. I'm just saying we need someone who is hunting you at all times.
Maybe not all times. Like, give me a break on like Saturday between like
That's the Sabbath.
between like 1 a.m. and
I don't want to be hunted on the Sabbath. Victor, Chris McQuarrie is signed on for 2 more Mission Impossible movies.
who's.
He's the writer director of the last 2.
Oh shit! All right. I'm
So
down.
that's like a
That's a
little
lot.
bit of the news. The other news is we're getting 2 more Mission Impossible movies.
Does that seem like a lot?
It seems,
How many are we at now? 7?
well, that would be 7 and 8.
Oh, so we've only had 6.
Yeah.
So Fallout was 6.
Yeah.
Okay,
So that would be 7 and 8, but still,
that's a lot.
it is a lot.
It's funny saying that after like
I still want to see them though.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you think Tom Cruise will die on one of these?
Depends. Do they want to kill the franchise?
No, I mean like he will die doing a stunt.
Oh, hell of an insurance claim.
So, okay, here's a question for you. Who do you think will die first? Do you think it'll be Tom Cruise during some epic stunt? Or do you think it'll be Christian Bale from losing/gaining too much weight?
Oh, definitely Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise, for sure. Christian Bale's not going to have like heart problems.
I don't know. Like I'm gonna loop in like the whole like yeah, you're doing some crazy stunts, but you're also dealing with like heart problems there too. I feel like your heart problems are more likely to come up doing stunts as opposed to eating.
He's a very healthy guy though. Like his cholesterol is probably pretty low.
Maybe the whole Scientology thing is kind of keeping him safe in that sense.
Well, yeah, he's enlightened, right? He probably has his blood cleaned. He probably gets transfusions with like 20-year-old boys.
Why does that have to be boys? Why does it have to bring gender into this?
Do you want to talk about trailers, Victor?
Oh fuck yeah.
Which one do you want to talk about first?
Well, I only one comes to my mind right now.
John Wick 3. Did you watch that?
That wasn't the one, but yes, I did.
You did watch it.
Oh boy, what did you think about it?
Oh, I'm excited. John Wick 3. Yeah. Parabellum? Is that what it's called? John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum.
Mm-hmm. I have no idea what that word means.
I actually, I was watching some other thing and then it just automatically loaded a video with the director of it. And he said the Parabellum, it's the end of a Latin phrase.
Yeah.
And so it means war.
But yeah, it kind of shows, I guess. I can't remember what happened at the end of the second one, but it basically ends up with him getting a $14 million bounty on his head.
He killed the guy on Holy Ground. He killed the guy in the Continental.
Oh, no big deal.
But that's like a big no-no.
Is it though?
Well, apparently they put a $14 million hit on his head because of it, and they cut him off. They're like, you can't use any of our services anymore.
But it's funny
That
because
guy
like,
who's looking after your dog, that dog's on the street now.
but it's
Go ahead.
it looks good though. Like it's everything that I want in a John Wick movie, which is basically the first 10 minutes is setting up the plot, and then for an hour and a half, you're just seeing John Wick kick ass.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much what the first movie. Yeah, the first movie had like what 20 minutes of setup, and then it was just a full movie of him just murdering people.
Well, it's like, it's funny because he loses everything in each movie. And in each movie, you're like, what else does he have to lose? Nothing. But like the next movie, it's like, no, he had more to lose. And so it's like the first movie, his wife dies, and then some guy kills his dog. And so he goes on this rampage. And then the second movie, you're like, well, he lost his wife and his dog. What else could he lose? And then his house burns down with all of his memories of his wife. And you're
Except
like,
he got a new dog at the end of the first one,
that's true.
and his dog is infinitely more badass than the first dog.
Yeah. And then this last one, he's lost like his entire connection with that world. And now like he's made an enemy of them. So it's like,
Well, it's funny because he like one of the guy that like runs the Continental, or at least he's one of the big guys in there or runs it. He was saying like, oh, there's like assassins all over the world looking for a piece of that $14 million bounty. All them versus one man. Odds seem right.
yeah. Halle Berry's in this one.
Yeah.
I saw her in it and I was like, oh, he gets like a partner. I don't like that. And then the next shot was of her unleashing her dogs on a bunch of henchmen. And I was like, okay, she's okay.
Yeah, she's like, it's just her, two dogs just like running through the front lines.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It looks good. It looks good. Should we go Far From Home?
No, let's just stick.
All right, what do you want to talk about with this, Victor? This is Spider-Man Far From Home that we're talking about.
Trailer finally dropped after what we talked about for like
finally I broke
podcasts.
down and talked about it 2 weeks ago, and then they released the trailer.
They showed a lot more in this than I expected. Like for a first trailer, like they even called it like a teaser trailer, didn't they?
Yeah. Technically, it's a teaser.
So I don't know. Is it Sony that's doing the trailer cuts? Like I feel like every Spider-Man movie, they show way too much.
Yeah,
To the
I
point where,
believe
like-
it's Sony's marketing team that's doing it.
Oh, they need to.
Because there was even I believe I heard talk of like there was some arguments between Marvel and Sony about like, why are you even releasing this year? Like, can we push it back so that you don't spoil Endgame?
Yeah.
But we knew that going in to Infinity War. Like there were certain characters that die that you're just like, yeah, but Spider-Man's got a movie coming out. They just announced Black Panther 2.
Yeah. It's not like, I don't know. Like I understand Marvel's worry about releasing the movie this year and kind of doing that. But at the same time, like people aren't stupid.
Yeah, they're
You
going
know,
to
like
figure it out.
they see that Spider-Man 2 is coming out, Black Panther 2 is coming out. They're having a Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show. Like,
Yeah, Vision
clearly
and
something's
Scarlet
gonna-
Witch and
like
Loki.
clearly something's going to happen unless it's all going to take place before Infinity War.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like, again, we talked about this a few weeks ago. We're a bit more informed about this kind of stuff. We know that, like, but now with the release of the trailer, then now the public knows, like, oh, Spider-Man's coming back. He's not
Actually,
dead.
it's funny you say that because I was talking to a friend of mine and I showed them the trailer and they were saying like, this has to take place before Infinity War because Spider-Man doesn't have his like iron suit.
Right.
So it's like, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
That like
and
some people will take it in that manner and not necessarily like something's going to happen in Endgame that brings everyone back.
It's weird that that's the reasoning though, and not because he died. So
Yeah, exactly. He's dust.
anyway, what was I going to say? Yeah, I kind of had that theory as well, because my understanding was when the Sony and Marvel deal happened was that it was going to be like it was going to be like Harry Potter in a way, like you were going to see him go through high school. And so if you're following the timeline in the MCU, like if this is after Endgame, as they have said it is,
Yeah.
this should be his senior summer vacation before he goes off to college.
Weird. For some reason, I thought they were going to keep him in high school for all 3 movies.
That's what I thought too. So that's what I'm saying is like your friends thought that it's a prequel, It could be right. I mean, they have said it takes place right after Avengers Endgame, but we've been lied to before.
That's true.
We have. Speaking of, they show his passport.
Yeah.
No years on any of the dates on it.
Yeah, they took that out.
Do you think that's to like keep it like fluid so that like you can never really place where these movies are, or do you think it's because it's a spoiler, like it's a prequel?
I think most part it's because it's a spoiler. They don't want people getting any concrete evidence of when this movie takes place.
That's fair.
And plus that gives people an opportunity to talk about the movie too.
Yeah.
Perfect example. Now.
Yeah. Did you notice that the suitcase had BFD or BFP on it?
I want to. Yeah.
So it's Ben's suitcase.
Yeah. Yeah. They showed quite a bit in this trailer. They showed off the elementals for three of the four. They showed off Spider-Man's new suit. Is black and red. They showed off his.
Yeah, it seems like he gets it a little bit earlier than I thought he would in the movie. Because when we saw set photos of it, I was wondering if it was just like the end of the movie he gets it. That's kind of like, this is what I'm going to look like in my next movie.
And wait, so he does end up bringing, like, despite what he says at the beginning of the trailer, he's like, oh, I just want to enjoy my summer vacation. I don't want to be Spider-Man this summer.
Yeah.
But he ends up with it in his suitcase.
In the international trailer, he opens his suitcase and there's a post-it from May that said, "You almost forgot this."
Oh, okay. But do you think that the black and red suit is just a blue and red suit, but there's a stealth option to it?
No, because like the spider is different on the back. Like it's bright white. I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's a new one. I think maybe he wears the red and blue one, and then it gets ripped to shreds, and then Happy comes and gives him the black one.
Yeah, at the end of the trailer, they show off Mysterio a little bit. Actually, when they first show him, it's Jake Gyllenhaal without his helmet.
Jakey G.
Which I was a little bit worried about because...
He's got a full beard. What do you think about that?
I don't care as much. It's one of those details that like he could have a mustache and a goatee for all I care.
Yeah,
he could have a monocle.
Matter. He just needs the fishbowl.
Yeah, as long as he has a fishbowl,
yeah,
I'm good. And he does.
Yeah.
And it looks fantastic.
He looks really good.
Yeah.
I love that we're at a place now with comic book movies where they can give them their big dumb helmets.
To be fair, I don't think a lot of like fans cared. I think fans have always wanted the like comic accurate costume, and no one necessarily argued for that. Doesn't make sense. Give him black leather because X-Men, you know?
Yeah.
Because I don't think I've ever heard anyone that were like arguing for like black leather costumes or more realistic costumes.
It's just more like, oh, it's so stupid. Like,
it is stupid.
I know. It looks great.
Yeah, but that's what the source material you're basing this off of has.
What do you think of his powers?
Actually, I thought that was a little weird.
Yeah.
Because I've always like, for me, Mysterio's always been the guy that's like smoke and mirrors.
Literally.
Yeah, like all of his tricks are tricks. And
yeah, they're all.
He doesn't really have any real powerful attacks. You know, that would make Spider-Man worry. Is basically what I'm saying. I mean, like Scarecrow. Like imagine if Scarecrow started carrying around like rocket fists.
Well, that's the thing though, is like, are they even powers? Are they illusions? Because like our theory, which is pretty much the consensus, is that he is not the good guy like they say he is, and that he is pretending to fight these elementals for fame and fortune or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe he's also stealing stuff at the same time, but maybe they're just light projections. Like
Peter does get hit with one of the like the Hydron, the water guy, the water elemental. Yeah. He gets knocked on his ass from like a water hit. So I feel like maybe these are real things and he just has to deal with them. Like Mysterio has to deal with them to say like, all right, you cause some distraction. I'm going to come in and stop you and we're going to share the profits of fame. But it kind of does, because remember we were saying like, well, some of the internet was also saying that like maybe Mysterio is pretending to be Nick Fury to hire him up.
Yeah, I was saying that. I want to claim that theory.
Okay, yeah. Nick Fury approaches Peter as Peter.
Yeah.
So how many people know that Spider-Man is Peter Parker? Like,
he could learn. He could figure it out
through his Mysterio ways.
I will give you that. That's the hole in that particular theory. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's like a huge hole. Like he could have found out who he was. He's a master of illusion.
Yeah, but he's not a mind reader.
Or if it is Chameleon working for him, who is disguised as Nick Fury, Chameleon could easily infiltrate and figure out who he is.
That's fair.
Yeah, what did you think of Michelle or MJ?
I like her as a character. I like Michelle as a character. I don't like that they're calling her MJ.
I know, it's just such a weird thing to do. It's like, why double down on it? Just call her Michelle.
Yeah, I feel like you're burning a bridge there because like you can't have a Mary Jane.
No, right? Like,
yeah.
Like I don't know how far ahead they're thinking. Like, because even if they do 3 Spider-Man movies and then they're like, well, maybe we're done. Marvel's going to continue. They will probably recast Tom Holland at some point. Like, why ruin that? Like, I don't know.
Because then now we're just not going to get a Mary Jane.
I guess not. I guess we're stuck with Zendaya for a little while.
Like again, like I don't mind her character. I don't mind Michelle. But yeah, I don't know, just if you're not going to have MJ in there, then just don't have MJ in there. Don't cut out the option to have her in there, you know?
Yeah. What'd you think of Happy and Aunt May flirting?
That's fine. Happy looks old.
He's really starting to look like actual like Jon Favreau now. Like he's got the Favreau goatee.
Yeah, it looks like he's aged 10 years between since like this movie and like Homecoming.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of wonder though, because it's like played like, oh, they're kind of a couple. I wonder if it's just like Happy's flirting with her and she's just kind of like, oh, someone's being nice to me. Like,
I like this.
Because they kind of imply that in the first movie where it's like,
oh yeah,
people are nice to her because she's so gorgeous, but she has no idea that's why. Like she just assumes everyone gets that kind of treatment.
Yeah, they go out for like dinner or something like that, and she was getting like free food from the kitchen.
Yeah. They changed apartments again.
Did they?
Yeah, the bedroom is different again.
Yeah. Peter has a proper closet now.
Yeah.
That's a weird detail for me to pull on, but yes.
Well, because that was the thing that bothered me, because it was like, so it's Civil War. Tony shows up. They have a nice scene in his bedroom. His bedroom looks a very specific way.
Yeah.
And then Spider-Man Homecoming happens. It's supposed to happen 2 months after or something. So it's conceivable that they could have moved in that 2 months. But he has a completely different bedroom. And it's like he has a bunk bed in there now. He has lots of crap on the walls and like...
Yeah.
And then in this one, again, he has this tiny little dinky bedroom. Do you like that line that Flash had at the end?
Oh, dickwad?
Well, like the whole lead up to it, where he's just like, I really like Spider-Man. He wears a dope suit. I really respect him. Yeah. What's up, dickwad?
Yeah. Did you also edit that dickwad out for the international show?
Yes, I did, yeah.
What did they say?
Just loser.
Oh.
I really like that, because that's like the epitome of Flash to me, was that like, he was always a dick to Peter, but he loved Spider-Man. That was the irony of him.
What do you think of Flash's mustache?
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, it looks like mine, but slightly better than mine.
Well, yeah. And I mean, lots of people harp on the fact that like Flash isn't a jock in it, but I feel like that's the kind of people who didn't go to high school like around the same time that we did. Like, I feel like that's the generation before.
Well, I think part of it is just like, oh, he's not the Flash that we grew up with. And then also the fact that like, we're not going to get the Flash Thompson Venom now for sure, because
you don't know that. He can go in the military. People of all shapes and sizes go in the military.
That is true. But the traditional Flash Thompson just lended his character more to evolving in that direction, as opposed to spelling bee champion.
We watched Iron Man this week, Victor.
Yeah, we are going through. Are we going to go through all the movies leading up to Endgame? Of course
we are. We better. That's the reason I started a podcast.
That's the reason. But,
yes, we better.
Yeah, watching through what we watched first Iron Man yesterday. Well, I left halfway through. Not even a half. I watched.
Yeah, you just walked right out. I didn't understand at all.
Yeah, I said nothing. Picked up my coat and left.
You didn't even pick up your coat. You left your shoes at the front door. It was weird.
Yeah, if anything, I took off more clothes as I walked down the stairs.
Yeah, we watched it last night.
There was actually a lot. I think you were saying like didn't think we were going to talk about it too much, just because it's like a movie we've seen so much, and it's like it's one of those movies that's it's a good movie, it's a very well respected movie,
Yeah.
but there's not much to pick on.
Well, I mean, not that critique
Not that
has to be only negative, but
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's just a really well made movie. Should we bother even going through the plot? I guess. Yeah. So Tony Stark, the billionaire philanthropist, he's the number one weapon contractor for the U.S. military. He goes to Afghanistan on a routine sail and gets kidnapped by terrorists. And in order to escape, he creates a suit of armor.
Yeah, and from that it evolves into what we now know today as Iron Man.
Yeah.
Despite the suit not ever being made of Iron Man, that's a weird name.
Yeah.
Like in the context of today, seeing a guy in a metal suit.
Well, I mean, they even comment on that in the movie, right? Like, he says it's technically a titanium alloy, but it's pretty cool. Pretty cool
Titanium
name.
Man.
There is a titanium man.
There is, and he looks ridiculous.
Yeah. Isn't he like he's a little gremlin guy in the suit?
What? Really?
I think so. Isn't it Gremlin is the villain, and then he's in the titanium man suit? Doesn't matter. Anyway,
I'm uninformed about
What'd you
this.
think of Iron Man? Victor, rewatching it. What was the last time you saw it?
Last time I saw it, I want to say like before Avengers 1.
Really?
Like probably leading up to Avengers 1.
Okay.
No, because like, I go back and watch movies very rarely. Like,
Yeah.
But since Iron Man 3 came out, if I want to watch an Iron Man movie, I watch Iron Man 3.
Really?
I know people are going to disagree with that. I can see the look on your face.
Okay.
And like if I want to watch a Captain America movie, I watch Winter Soldier.
Okay. That's
And,
fair.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Last time I watched it was right before Infinity War. I think I meant to just watch the Phase 3 movies over, but I ended up watching all of them over in no particular order. It was very weird.
Well, to be
but-
fair, you're very good at watching movies while you work, or just
Yeah.
having it on the side. Whereas if I have something, I watch it. I don't. With the intention of working with it in the background, I ended up just watching it.
Yeah. But yeah, I liked it again. I've
no.
seen this movie a bunch
Yeah.
over my life. Actually, can I tell you the story of when I first saw Iron Man? I probably
yeah.
told you before, but I'll tell it for the podcast. Back when this came out, and was 2008, I was living at home, and I lived in a smaller town growing up, and we had a movie theater, but it wasn't great, and so it was like kind of common thing, like if you were a fan of movies and like a particular movie that was coming out that you really wanted to experience in the theater, you would drive 40 minutes to the next town to go see it in a big, nice theater with surround sound and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So back in those days, you couldn't buy tickets. Like you could buy tickets online, but not everybody was doing it, and it didn't always work and stuff like that. So anyway, my brother and I on opening night, we drove 40 minutes to go and see Iron Man, and we arrived like half an hour early so that like we would get good seats and stuff like that. And we are getting up to the line, and we're looking up at the marquee, and like a bunch of shows are sold out. And it's just like sold out. And we're getting close to the thing, and we're kind of like, are we going to be able to see this tonight? The show we came for still has tickets. So we're like, doesn't say sold out at least.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of getting nervous as we're getting closer and closer, and we're getting pretty close. There's about 2 people left in line, and the girl at the desk, she stops what she's doing, and she climbs up on top of the desk, and we're like, oh no. And she goes, ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention, please?
It's a bold move.
Maid of Honor is sold out. Maid of Honor is sold out. We were like, ooh. And then so we went in and watched Iron Man and enjoyed the crap out of it. But
Did you watch any trailers going into that movie?
of course, I still remember like the Onion article about like how they said that the Iron Man trailer was so good that they were going to make a full-length movie out of it.
That's pretty good, actually. I haven't seen that. Well, I don't know. Like for me, it was like we had just come out of what, Spider-Man 1.
Spider-Man 3.
Oh, it was 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, like all we had was like Spider-Man movies, the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, and all the Batman movies and Superman movies that came before. So like all the campy stuff.
And X-Men.
What?
We did
No.
X-Men.
Nope.
Yes,
No,
we did.
Nope.
Yes, we did.
Nope.
Yes, we did.
We don't even
Victor,
have.
you're wrong.
We don't even have
Victor, you're
X-Men movies now. I like. Please find me an X-Men movie.
But
and I'll
yeah,
watch
I understand. It was, we had the last movies we watched was like Batman Begins was the only one that was kind of good. And at that time too, everything was really dark. Like the Bourne movies and like Pirates of the Caribbean. Well, Pirates of the Caribbean was kind of still kind of light, but everything was like
It has some like dark themes in it.
Yeah, everything was dark and gritty. And Iron Man was such a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. Well, like I remember leading up to that, like the only good movies that I liked were Batman Begins and Spider-Man 2. Like I had issues with Spider-Man 2. I don't want to get into it, but like there's a lot of issues I had with it that was like, all right, it's a good Spider-Man movie, but like I wouldn't say it's the best superhero movie. So like leading up to that, I was like, oh, Iron Man. Like I remember I liked Iron Man growing up. Like I used to watch the cartoons. I had some comics of it. Didn't really focus too much on it as opposed to how much I did with like Superman and Batman and Spider-Man. I went into it thinking it was going to be like just because of how the poster looked for it.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be an animated movie or like a 3D animated movie. I hadn't seen any trailers for it. I went with a friend, and
What a delightful surprise you
yeah,
had.
it was strange because I watched and I was like, oh, this is the movie? It's like a live action movie. Oh shit! And then I remember like having the biggest grin on my face when I saw the Mark I come out of the cave. Like it just looks so good. Like I was expecting this clunky little piece of armor that just, all right, it looks good in the dark, but how's it gonna look? Oh, it looks fantastic in the sun.
The whole movie itself, like we should talk about the tone a little bit because it does have that realism that was popular at the time. Like it feels lived in, like the world, even the way that they talk to each other, it feels very realistic. Like
it's a very different movie compared to like, even Iron Man 2 compared to like it's very different.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was like planned or not, but I feel like the MCU started with this realism kind of angle, and then as they went, they just kind of slowly started adding the more and more comic booky, kooky elements to it, like the goofy elements. And because it was like they kept giving us our jam, like we couldn't taste the medicine we were getting. And just more and more, and now we're just like eating cough syrup, and we're just like, yes, I love it, and the jam is gone now. And
well, yeah, because like if you look at the first three movies, it's what the Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 1, and then Iron Man 2. And if you look at those three movies compared to like, I don't know, you draw from like Iron Man 3, even like Civil War had some of that like humor in it, but like it's kind of similar to like how like a sitcom is with their characters. Like in the beginning, they're all relatively normal. They have little quirks, but then by like season 3, they're just caricatures of.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like that they always have to, because they're retelling more stories. Because the whole point of like an arc in a movie, like the thought is when you tell a character's arc, that's the most important part of their life. And so with sequels, it's like you can't have, like you have to top that emotionally. It gets to a point though where it's like, well, you can't keep topping this emotional arc in their life. Like, so yeah, I get what you're saying. And they just kind of become more and more grand and like dealing with certain things. But yeah. Do you mind if I go like little film school on you for the opening scene?
Yeah, do it.
So like that opening scene of Tony in the Humvee is like designed so well as an introduction to that character. Everything that happens in that character tells you exactly who he is and how he reacts to situations. And like the opening shot, like the first time we see Tony, it's a close up of his hand and he's holding a scotch. He's in a Humvee with soldiers and he's drinking. So it either tells you that like he just loves to drink, which he does, but it's also like he doesn't play by the rules. It's not polite to just drink in a car, like especially with law enforcement. Well, not law enforcement, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Subjects of authority. He's wearing a suit with sunglasses. So you know that he's rich, but he's also kind of like, he's laid back. AC/DC is playing. So you know he's not like a snippy, kind of waspy rich. He's rock and roll.
But it's funny. It's not even just like the music's just playing. It's playing from like a little CD player in the Humvee.
Yeah. And then this is even before he talks. This is all just the way he looks and the way he's carrying himself. One of the first things he says, he insults the driver, who is a woman, and he says, "Oh man, I couldn't tell that you were a woman," like implying that she's ugly or mannish, right? but then he wins her back and makes her laugh. So it's just like he says what he wants, but then he's so charming that he wins you back. And then so they ask him, is it true that you slept with like all these models last year? And he's like, yeah, that is true. And so it's like, you know, he's a playboy. And it's just like the entire scene is designed just to introduce you to him. And he's such an original character in comparison to what we had at that point. He's very flawed, but you kind of like him. And so like he was just such a breath of fresh air to what we had at that point. Because, like, I mean, you had your Peter Parkers and your Superman who were very good. And then you had your anti-heroes like Batman and Blade and stuff like that who were just
like
kind of brooding.
badasses.
But And, like, this was a guy who was just like, if he didn't have this suit of armor, there's no reason he should be the hero of this story. Like, so, yeah, it's just incredibly well done, well executed introduction to his character.
Yeah, you get a lot of him in that scene. I really do like that. Definitely noticed that a bit more watching it yesterday.
There's like lots of really cool things in this movie that they took because they were meeting what was happening at the time in the genre, and like it was their answer to it, so they didn't have to do it the way it's been done before. So like, for example, like the helmet cam.
Yeah.
If for whatever reason you have not seen Iron Man or any movie with Iron Man in it, there's a camera that's just a POV, or not a POV, but it's just like straight in, you're smack dab right in front of Robert Downey Jr.'s face, and you can see his heads up display inside the Iron Man suit.
So it's like you're kind of seeing his face inside the helmet.
Yeah. And like that was their way of showing what the character is feeling when he has his helmet on.
Well, yeah, because that was the big issue, right? People want to show like the actor's face and be able to have them express. But if you're in a metal suit, a metal helmet, there's not much opportunity for you to emote.
Well, and then that was like a complaint that they always had with the Spider-Man movies, because it was always just like, well, his mask gets ripped off in the last battle, of course, because he has to cry at the end.
Oh, I hated that so much. The Spider-Man movies, the Sam Raimi ones.
Yeah. What'd you think of Pepper in this movie?
She looks, I said yesterday, like a lot of all the actors look so different from how they look, like compared to like Iron Man 3.
They're all so young.
Yeah.
Well, except for, you said Robert Downey Jr. looks older.
He looks older. He looked like, if you were to ask me, like, place his character he played in the timeline, like, I would say that took place after Iron Man 3. It's just the way his hair is done. And I don't know, like, everyone but Robert Downey Jr. looks so young, like, especially, like, happy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Favreau is like 45 pounds lighter.
Oh, yeah.
Did you notice there was a bunch of stuff that they showed in this movie that they would never show now in a Disney Marvel?
Like what?
Well, there was like the sex scene, or like it was barely a sex scene, but like the fact that characters were having sex on screen.
Yeah, I guess
that would never happen now. You'd never see that. There's a scene, I think it was Jeff Bridges shows up. He turns to Happy and he goes, "Where is he?" And he goes, "He's inside." Happy's outside smoking a cigarette.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, you would never see that now.
2008.
Yeah.
Good old days.
And I mean, Jeff Bridges is smoking a huge stogie. I think they can still...
I think cigars you can get away with.
Cigars are a little bit easier to get away with, but I'm trying to think. I don't think I've seen one. Like, General Ross smokes one in Incredible Hulk, but that was the same year.
It's definitely not a thing you would give your characters nowadays to do.
Well, smoking is now considered like the evil character does it, right?
But like, I noticed Pepper Potts had like actual red hair.
Yeah, not a wig.
And freckles.
And freckles, yeah.
Yeah. Because like, I'm just picturing Iron Man 3. She's clearly blonde in it. Maybe a hint of red. I don't know. I kind of wish they didn't do that. Like, I kind of wish they kept the red hair. Because it looked good. I don't know. I thought it looked good on her. Plus,
it does. She looks kind of cute. And now she just looks like somebody's mom.
I don't know. I like it when they kind of keep that character visual up. Like, I don't like it when they just basically like, oh, like the actress doesn't want to deal with dyeing her hair or wearing a wig, so let's just slowly
I know
bring it back down to her natural look so that viewers aren't just like, whoa, what happened? You know?
Yeah. What'd you think of Rhodey?
Rhodey? Who's that? It's weird. I've seen so much of what's his name?
Don Cheadle.
Forgot about him.
Terrence Howard. Which one did you like better?
I kind of like Don Cheadle. I don't know. I've liked everything I've seen him. I haven't seen a lot of Terrence Howard, so.
But like, I just strictly Rhodey. Like,
Rhodey?
Who do you think is the better Rhodey?
I don't know. I feel like Terrence Howard hasn't had that much of an opportunity to like play Rhodey, so it'd be an unfair.
Okay. I kind of like Terrence
comparison.
Howard better, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like him in real life. Sounds like an idiot in real life, but I like Don Cheadle a lot in real life. But I think Terrence Howard he just has more of I don't know, like a gravitas to him. Like he just seemed more like he's been friends for years with Tony Stark, whereas Cheadle it doesn't come across as much as that. Mm-hmm. He just seems more like a real person. Like I believe that he's in the military and like that's his code of honor and stuff like that. And
interesting.
Like it just is a little bit more layered performance. It just kind of comes out. Maybe it's just strictly his physique and the way he carries himself. But I just don't buy that as much with Don Cheadle.
I was gonna say, I feel like I get more of the military man out of Don Cheadle than I do out of Terrence Howard.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm not sure I can pinpoint exactly what it is, but I feel like just like the total package of like his demeanor, the way he talks and stands, just says more military than Terrence Howard.
I think I like his mustache. I think that's what it is.
All right. The suits in this one look so much different.
Like the Iron Man suits or
Yeah.
like the business suits? Because Coulson is wearing a giant suit in this movie.
Oh, that was... Yeah, I noticed that right away. As soon as we saw him on screen, I was like, whoa.
It's like so big that suits were different back then. I mean, it's 10 years ago, but like I still feel like they were a little tailored.
Part of it is, I want to say a part of it is the budget. Coulson wasn't exactly like a major character.
That's true.
So they're not going to get him properly suited. Like, I'm sure they just... Not that they got like off the rack suit, but like at the same time, they're not going to custom make a suit for him.
No, I think you're exactly right. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
I think I was watching, there's a great video online if you're at all interested in movies and especially how Marvel movies are made. It was, it's the 10th anniversary of Iron Man Q&A with Jon Favreau and Kevin Feige. Mm-hmm. And they were just talking about the budget and like how when they were making Iron Man the entire time, they were just like so worried that it wasn't going to work. And just that they had like a minuscule budget, and like the reason why were able to get Robert Downey Jr. was because he was so cheap at the time, and like, and like the fact that like Jon Favreau was really cheap at the time. Their main goal was just trying to deliver it on time.
Interesting. It's funny you mentioned the whole budget thing because like all the Iron Man suits are practical, right? Well, for the most part, like majority, like the Mark III and Mark II suit, like he wore like the Iron Man suit, but like obviously a lot of the textures were CG'd on. Same with like I think the Iron Man suit was like the helmet was real, the torso was real, and I think the legs were real, but then the arms had a lot of the parts CG'd on after the fact.
Yeah, I think all the suits, there was a practical version made.
Yeah. And like it shows, like it makes a huge difference. Mm-hmm. Whereas like, well, I think it really only shows in Age of Ultron is Mark 45 suit.
Oh, the one at the end where he has this like a weird...
It's got like a weird sheen to it. It looks like a video game character.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's the thing too, is like the CGI for the time, it's pretty great. Like I can kind of spot things here and there because I feel I probably have a trained eye for picking up visual effects now, but like all of it looks great. Like there's some scenes where I was surprised to learn that it was entirely CGI. Like, the shot where he gets blown out of the sky by the tank. Yeah. And then the tank shoots at him again and he dodges it and shoots a little tiny missile. Yeah. Like that entire thing is CGI.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I would have thought that was practical.
But anyway, yeah. So there's like scenes like that where you're just like everything looks so great. Mm-hmm. Really good. Do you want to hear some of the things I learned from this Q&A?
Hit me.
So a lot of the things that Marvel does now is because of Jon Favreau and just the way that he directs movies. So like his collaborative process, like, so for example, something that Marvel does is every week they just get all the producers and they go and sit in a theater and they watch the dailies. Yeah. And then they like talk about it all together. And that was just because Jon Favreau was like, why am I getting notes from 5 different producers? Like, let's all get into a room together and talk about it. Yeah. And so because they did that, they just do that now.
And dailies are all the scenes that they shot that day, right?
That's right. Yeah. The other one was like just the amount of people that he brought in just on a lark. So like Louis Desposito and Victoria Alonso are just some people he knew from other movies he brought in. Now they're both like right and left hand of Kevin Feige at the studio.
Oh shit!
And like Ryan Meinerding was this visual development guy. He designs all of the costumes for every movie now. Like not costumes, but like
he does all the concept work for
concept art. Yeah. And the other one that I found really funny was like he just called Paul Bettany because he knew him, and he's like, he has a cool voice. We need someone to do the voice of the computer. And now he's the Vision. And like,
Yeah.
the other one was Clark Gregg was his neighbor, and he was just like, can you just please just come in and do this bit part for me? And now he has like a TV show.
Wait, Clark Gregg, was he was an actor though, right?
Yes, he is. An
Okay, he
actor.
wasn't just like a random neighbor.
No, it wasn't like his gardener or anything like that.
Yeah.
But
You know what'd be funny if Paul Bettany, the guy or whoever they chose for the voice, wasn't physically fit for the role of Vision.
yeah. I don't think that was ever the plan, though. I think that was just Joss Whedon being like, he's so pretty, he should be the Vision. Like, because, yeah, and that was the other thing, that they made lots of changes to the source material, but everything they change kind of modernizes it, but like, but does it in a way that like, it's not changed for the sake of changing it. Like, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, this is better. Like, so for example, Jarvis in the comics was always an actual physical butler, but in this one, they're like, oh, let's make him an artificial intelligence.
Yeah, we don't need slaves anymore. Computers.
Do you have any nitpicks about this movie? Do you have any, not even nitpicks? Do you have anything that you just think is bad about this movie?
Bad? Not really.
No.
Like, yeah, I don't know. Like it all kind of like the pacing was very good. The character arc was very well done. All the characters, I like the way they were portrayed
Yeah.
visually and through the actors as well.
My only thing, and again, it doesn't break the movie. It still works the way they did it. To me, it doesn't make a lot of sense that Stain gets into a suit at the end of the movie.
Yeah, and like, you know, the whole point of him going, like Stain puts a hit on Tony in the beginning of the movie, and that's like he's the one behind it all from the start. He wants to get rid of Tony Stark so he can kind of inherit Stark Industries for himself.
Yeah.
So like at the end of the movie when he builds his own suit for whatever reason, and he's like, okay, I need a power source. Clearly, Tony has the one that I need, so I'm gonna go take it. And like he surprises him. He puts him into like some kind of paralyzed state with some sonic thing that he puts up to his ear, whatever the device is. But like at that point, wouldn't you just shoot him in the head?
Well, yeah. I mean,
There's a lot of like people out there that have reason to go after Tony Stark, you know?
and that's something I really liked about the movie was, this is going on a little bit of a tangent, but I really liked that the MacGuffin of the movie, or like the thing that everybody was after, was not the armor itself. It was the power source. I found that more interesting. If you watch it again, because the first time you watch it, maybe you know, maybe you don't, that Jeff Bridges is evil. But watching it again and knowing that that's what he's after, like all the little stuff that he does where he just has conversations with Tony, it's like, maybe we could just,
Just take a look at it.
Let's take a look at it or whatever.
Reverse
or,
engineer it. Let the scientists kind of take a look at it.
yeah, like all the little stuff. It's just all these little things where he's trying to get it. And it's just because Tony is so callous and stubborn that he doesn't get it. That
like
he finally
he
has to take drastic action and steal
Well,
it.
like he's very defensive throughout the entire movie. That like this arc reactor stays with me. Like everything else, yes, I've given the company, but like this one stays with me because I guess seeing that his weapons have been mishandled and sold to like the wrong people,
Which makes perfect sense.
Oh yeah,
He's a very smart guy. He understands how powerful it would be to have a nuclear reactor, the equivalent of a nuclear reactor,
in the palm of your hand. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it in your chest. That seems ridiculous.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think the portrayal of the character works out very well. Like from what I understood of the character from comics and a little bit of the TV show,
It's a little different, but yeah, I would agree with you.
like it hit all the important parts. Like there was a few things they changed, like about how his suit worked and how the arc reactor worked with the suit. But I don't know. Like I came out of that movie thinking like, wow, that's a very accurate movie. Like I'd say it's close to like the Spider-Man movies. But what about you? What'd you?
Yeah, I would say the thing with like, it doesn't make a lot of sense for Stain to get into the suit at the end. But really, that's the only like thing I didn't really like. I noticed one thing, the part where Pepper goes into Tony's computer and she's like looking for files that Stain has hid.
Yeah.
He labels his files ultra secret.
Really?
Why would you name anything that? Like,
If anything, that's like a please open me. Please open and look.
right? Like, even if you're not looking for that, you would be like, what is this? What does he think is ultra secret?
Yeah.
That was weird.
Also, do you like the fact that like all the technology that Tony uses in this movie is like commercial products.
Yeah, like they have their own operating system, but they don't have their own computer.
Yeah. Like the cell phone he has is like it's like a Verizon phone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's clearly a phone that you can buy.
Yeah. And then I noticed that too when she goes to his computer at work. It's a Dell monitor. So they changed that in the next movie.
Yeah.
That's what they do. You were asking me when we were watching it. So what do they make now that they don't make weapons? They make monitors.
cell phones and monitors. So there's what 3 fights. There's one when he first gets his Mark III suit. He goes back to Afghanistan.
Golmira is the town that he goes to.
Yes. There's
Which was Jensen's hometown. I don't know if you ever picked that up.
Yep.
But, oh, you did.
Yeah.
Well, look how smart you are. Thought I was going to teach you something, but guess not.
Yeah, he goes back to Afghanistan or Gomira. He basically liberates it from the terrorists. And then there's another scene where he is.
I think that one's my favorite one.
Of the ones in this movie, or just of the Iron Man ones?
Just this movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it demonstrates the character's abilities very well. It shows his motives. He's not there to negotiate. He's just get revenge, pretty much. Get rid of the problem. And he's very straight to the point.
Well, it's also kind of funny. I don't know if it's a plot hole or not, but like at that point, he was just building it as a flight suit.
Mm-hmm.
But when he goes there, he somehow has missiles and stuff and bullets already put into the suit.
Leading up to that, he didn't plan on it being, like you said, a battle suit. But okay, like the first time he realizes like, oh, this thing does damage is when he fires off the repulsor, the stabilizers on his hands for the flight suit, and it blows up some lights. So he's like, okay, well, from that thought process, like, okay, maybe I can use this for something. But then next time you see him, he's got launchers on his shoulders that shoots out like bullets.
And then he shoots a missile out of his gauntlet at a tank.
Mm-hmm. And he's got flares on his hips.
We don't know how much after that it, like we assume it's pretty close after he sees the news report, but maybe he was just like, they have my weapons, I'm going there to destroy them. So maybe he added that.
And then does it go the next scene, the next action scene, is that right into the last battle with Stain in his suit?
Yeah, that's after that. He sends Pepper to find out what Stain's up to.
Yeah.
And then by that time, Stain has created the Ironmonger suit.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think about that fight?
It's pretty cool. Like, again, it's like, I like the fight itself. It's just, to me, it's like, why is it Stain? Like, shouldn't it be like they hired some guy to test it out? But I mean, you have to have, like, I don't know how you would include him in the climax otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. I like the opening, the fight scene, like as his escape from the cave in the Mark 1.
That part too. Yeah.
That's a really cool thing because it's just like he's literally just a tank just moving through the halls and and I mean there's the emotional push behind it of just like finally he's taken the reins and he is escaping and he's taking control of his destiny. And
actually, my favorite part about this movie is the process of him building the Mark II suit in his lab back at home.
Yeah, there's a lot of tinkering in this movie, and it's kind of unusual that like a big blockbuster movie is just you have a guy in a room and he's just kind of talking to robots while he solders.
Yeah, well, I think that's also like, I guess they realize being Marvel is that's a huge part of the character that no other superhero really has. Like Batman doesn't Batman has a lot of gadgets, but you never in the comics see him tinkering with stuff.
No, like in if you do it's a montage, right? Like
yeah. Whereas like in the comics, like a lot of it was like, even back in the 90s before like Iron Man became like an A-list character, a lot of his comics that I have, he'd be working on a new suit for the Arctic. One of the comics I was looking at, he was testing some gear out for like a stealth suit that can like camouflage and go invisible. So I was very happy to see that in this.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, and that's the other thing too is like, yeah, he tinkers for like 40 minutes of this movie, but like you're interested in it. Like you're invested in the process of him designing and making it. Like every time he has a pitfall, it's kind of funny where he hits a wall literally or whatever. And then you see him adapt and figure out how to fix it. And you're kind of like, you're invested in it and you're like, oh, this is cool. Like I can't wait to see the finished product.
Cause like you're on that journey with him too, just to like you've seen the Mark 1 suit, you've seen like the potential there. So it's like, oh, like you get to kind of walk that journey with him to build the hero that you came to the movie theaters to see.
Yeah. Did you know that Tony Stark was able to build that in a cave? with a box of scraps.
Nice.
Also, this movie is incredibly quotable. If you ever around Victor and I in real life, we quote this movie all the time, and it's the tiniest lines that mean nothing in the movie that we quote it to each other.
It's awful.
One line that I say all the time, I don't even know if you'll remember it from the movie, but I always say, "Oh, I'm sorry, am I in your way?"
Oh. When he's soldering that boot.
And his robot arm is in the way. I say that all the time to people.
And I think, yeah, mine is, well, it's always when I'm making a decision. Is it too much to ask for both?
Yeah.
Oh, what was the context of that line? He's showing off he's giving a speech to sell the weapons.
Is it better to be feared or respected?
Yeah.
That's the line right before it.
Yeah, it's a good line.
What did you think of the ending of it, like the press conference where he announces himself to the world?
I was kind of excited when I first watched this. I remember because they were leaning into the whole like Iron Man is his bodyguard and he had to keep a secret identity. I was like, that's gonna be lame. Was he gonna sneak off in the middle of work day and just to be Iron Man? And then he comes out with I am Iron Man and the credits roll.
I really like it because at that time everyone had a secret identity.
Exactly. Like it's different. It's another way that like he stands out from the rest of the Batmans, the Spider-Mans, Blades. And nobody cares about Blade.
And it's also like it fits the character too that he would just blurt that out in public.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like if Batman did that, like he'd be like, what an idiot. Like, why would you say that? But like Tony, you're just like, yeah, I get it. Like, yeah, I really liked that a lot.
I mean, it's worked out well. I can't imagine like how, I mean, if he came out in the next movies, but like for the most part, it'd be weird for him in Avengers.
Well, the only thing I don't like about it is that it's kind of caught on with Spider-Man. Because Spider-Man was always like, he has to have the secret identity. That's what I really like about him. Even though it's like a love-hate thing of just like, oh, if they only knew why he missed that meeting or whatever. Like, but
I'll say that for Spider-Man though.
We just talked about the post-credit scene.
Yeah. So what I think that's the first time. I think I almost walked out of the theater, but then the guy next to me was like, "Oh wait, there's more." Something. Yeah.
I think at that time, my family, because my brother at the time was involved in the film industry, so we kind of always waited through the credits.
Gotcha.
And this was like the first time we got rewarded for it. So it's Tony after the press conference. He just announced, "I'm Iron Man." He walks in, and Nick Fury is in his house. And that was another thing from the Q&A was because it's Samuel L. Jackson. It's like they're announcing to the audience, we're going to start a universe.
Yeah.
It's funny listening to the Q&A because Jon Favreau described it as like, that was just a thing that we did. Like we had no intention of like following up on that. And like, it was just kind of like an Easter egg for the fans. It was kind of like a thank you for like sitting through the movie. And like, it became this whole huge thing. And I think that's kind of like the epitome of Marvel is that they have their mentality is like, wouldn't it be cool if, but they also are just like, they're not slaves to that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like
put the option out there, but
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, we can tease that. And if that hits, maybe we'll do that.
What's also great about that scene is that the line that Nick Fury delivers, which I can't remember exactly.
You're part of a bigger universe. You just don't know it yet.
Yeah. And like that 100% kicks off the MCU.
Yeah. Which is like a cool idea. Like, I can't believe no one thought of that. Yeah. Like, cause like I thought of it as like a kid of like watching the Fantastic Four and be like, wouldn't it be great if just Spider-Man like swung by the window? Like, he doesn't have to interact with them. Like, just have him swing by. Like, of course, I never understood like film rights and stuff like that at the time, but the Marvel Studios was the first one who was just like, we have these characters. Why don't we just cross them over? Like,
yeah. You do them in comics all the time, TV shows.
Yeah. So cool. So cool. That's why I love Marvel. I think more so than anything, I do like Marvel and their Marvel characters and I grew up with them, but I think it's more just I'm a continuity nerd.
Well, that's the thing that DC kind of like dropped the ball on, right? Like they're trying to do the same things, but they're jamming it down our throats and just rushing everything. They're not taking the time to set things up subtly so it kind of grows on you. Like the idea of it grows on you, not necessarily just like, here's an idea and then next movie, here it is, whether it's fleshed out properly or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think too is that like DC is kind of like like a lot of the other studios after the Avengers worked, they were like, we got to make a cinematic universe.
Yeah.
And they were so concerned with building the universe that they don't take the time to be like, well, let's make this movie good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the difference with Marvel. It's like, again, wouldn't it be cool if, but let's not sacrifice this movie. I think I was watching an interview with Peyton Reed. Someone was asking him about like figuring out like what to do in the sequel and stuff like that. And he's just like, that's that movie's problem. Like we don't worry about that movie until we're making that movie.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes that kind of
Blows up
kicks
in their
back
face.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean,
for the most part, like it works, right? And it's probably the best way to deal with building a universe.
Yeah. I mean, if that's how they're doing it, then just continue it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's worked out pretty well so far.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really have any bad things like, but do you have any like quick thoughts?
I wish they didn't kill Stain at the end. I wish he was still around. I wish.
Yeah, he would be a cool guy to have around.
Because there's certain villains that I think have more opportunity to have like a secondary role later on, and Stain fits that for sure.
Yeah.
Like he's not like a throwaway villain. Like there's a lot of connection, like personal history there between the two, and I think that's something I wish they could have expanded on later on.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of a problem with Marvel in general. I think they've started to move away from that, but yeah, they kill their villains, and it's like, that guy was really cool. You should have kept him around. Like even if you don't plan on using him, you should still keep him in your
Just mix it up a little bit, you know?
Yeah,
because it's killing the villain off. If it doesn't add anything to the story or to that character, why bother? You know? And the same thing the other way around. If every villain lives, then maybe you should try killing one of them.
And I mean, it was the first movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. I also think The Stain is one of those ones where it's like, oh, he was really good. Like I even told you last night where there's been times before I was like, oh, Jeff Bridges, he should be in a Marvel movie. He would be great. And I'm like, oh, right. He was in the first one.
Yeah.
But he died.
Yeah. He fell through the roof into another arc reactor and he just left. He was just a pretty little stain in the lab after that.
And with that, that's Iron Man.
Yep. No, I'm glad we'll end it on that joke.
So, Victor, out of the two that we have reviewed, where would you put Iron Man in the ranking?
Between that and Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Yeah.
For sure, Iron Man on top.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I mean, they're very, very different movies.
Yes, they are.
One is a sequel and a comedy.
Yeah.
And the other one is a superhero movie.
The other one's starting a universe. The other one's like the 19th movie in the universe. Yeah, I love it. I've watched it so many times. I can't keep track how many times I've watched it. It still holds up. Like even watching it again last night, like it's like I still laugh at things and yeah, it's good movie.
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys. So let us know your thought. Leave a comment. Email us at theaverageUninformed@gmail.com if you would like. No pressure.
If you like this podcast, recommend it to a friend. Or don't. Do what you want, but
You're a grown man or woman.
or maybe you're not.
And I guess with that said, we will talk to you again next week.
Dave.
Who's Dave?
I don't know. Maybe there's a listener named Dave. Now he's freaked out.
All right. Anything else, Josh, before we call it?
No, that's it.
All
I'm
right.
done. I'm spent.
All right. Goodbye, guys.
Bye.